So today we have a very special guest speaker who is the director and founder of Gambaran Brand. He got his Bachelor of Arts Management Information Systems in California State University of Fresno and Bachelor of Fine Arts Advertising Design in Academy of Art University. Today he'll be talking about digitizing UMKM from advertising and marketing point of view. Please welcome and give a round of applause to Mr. Arto Biantoro.
All right. Okay, so I want to say hi to everyone, our fellow friends from all over Indonesia. Say hello also to our friend in Hong Kong, ni hao. Good to have you here. And let me introduce myself again. My name is Arto Biantoro, and I'm actually a brand activist. What is brand activist is actually a new term for those people who actually working in the area of branding. And what we do is actually we help UMKM or small medium enterprises to grow in a different way, different pace, and somehow nurture them in a way that we can help to build the economy. So let me show you some video things that that we did in the past, and I also involved in numerous activities and initiative regarding on local movement. One will be my TV program that I actually conduct and host called Brand Adventures. It's a story of myself go riding all over Indonesia with motorcycle, because as you know, we have a great, beautiful islands of Indonesia, and I go all over the places and to see a good wisdom of our local brand and our local small medium enterprises. So here, check it out. So let me go through this topic first. I wanna go through this one very interesting discussion, and that will be happy to share with you later on. It's called conscious capitalism, and let me show you the video, things that we've done in the past.
Yang telah mempelajari dan mengamati dunia brand sejak 20 tahun yang lalu. Brand sangat menarik bagi saya. Mempelajari bagaimana sebuah produk atau jasa bisa mengubah persepsi kita dan membuat kita jatuh cinta kepadanya.
Kamu boleh mimpi besar, tapi start small, ya, mulai dari kecil.
Setelah bertahun-tahun mempelajari tentang brand, kini saya akan membuka rahasianya untuk Anda.
Research sangat penting, so kamu tahu siapa yang mau kamu tapin, market kamu siapa, segmentasinya bagaimana, itu nanti berkenaan sama branding, sama cara kamu mengkomunikasikan brand kamu.
Brand bukan cuma soal profit, tapi soal memberi lapangan pekerjaan, mengentaskan kemiskinan, membangun ekonomi daerah, dan membuat kita jatuh cinta pada Indonesia.
Orang-orang pihak-pihak yang tadi dibilang kompetitor itu, selama bendera mereka merah putih, kita nggak pernah menganggap mereka sebagai kompetitor.
Merah putih. Merah putih. Saya akan membawa Anda melihat brand-brand inspiratif dari seluruh Indonesia.
Memperbesar usaha saya dengan tujuan supaya saya bisa kayak Grab ataupun memberikan lapangan pekerjaan untuk lebih banyak orang lagi, khususnya warga disabilitas.
Spiritnya adalah mengangkat kearifan lokal, mengangkat potensi lokal.
Inilah petualangan seru menguak rahasia brand siang dan malam di atas roda 2 untuk membuktikan bahwa brand lokal kita bisa. Welcome to Brand Adventure.
All right, so this is it. So hopefully after pandemic, we all can go out again. We can be able to shoot again and traveling all over Indonesia again. So what I like about being a brand activist is that I can be able to mix between the business thinking and also the creative thinking, and that is where actually I'm coming from. My first degree is actually working on management information system, so today is called business information system, and my second degree will be in advertising design. So that I think will be a very interesting combination between doing the business and the creativity as well at the same time. Now, I think one point that I would like to share is that being a business person, we always intend to think about making profit, and I think that is fine. The fact is, I always ask this question when we start making capital, we start making money. I always tend to ask myself or everyone else is how big is big? You know, what is the limit of us making money? Of course, there's no such an answer like that. And this is coming back to the understanding of being capitalist or capitalism. So if you understand now in the world, there is a very common economic system called capitalism, which is the way you providing goods or services with the purpose of making money or a profit. So this is a very common a way to do the business, and most of people actually now lies on this system. We do still have some communism, socialism, you know, some other area of economic system somehow in the other part of the world, but majority of the world we actually doing capitalism. But capitalism is not something merely new. You know, if you go back to 1,000 years ago, trading, doing the business within each other, within one continent to another continent is very common. So we today experience capitalism in a very, very interesting way, and it's good for us and it's good for everyone. The fact is actually in 1776, Adam Smith is the one who actually wrote about capitalism in the modern era. The Wealth of the Nation is one of the books that actually, giving the path to all of us to understand that capitalism is a way to, to help us create the economy. Thus, at the end of the day, is actually create a better life for everyone. But coming along to the recent years, we start to see the negative side of the capitalism, child labor, excessive child labor, the way to, gain profit as much as possible, the process of making money on a negative way, on a negative impacts. This all lead to a lot of comments on being capitalism. There is no such a thing as enough, then at the end of the day, people are just trying to make profit as much as possible. On the other hand, they press or they push other people in the other part of the world, to make the wealth, and the other one is suffer. So this is the condition that I think and sometimes capitalism being criticized as the way of just making money and making people actually worse on the other side. And this is create an imbalance in the world. One of the greatest story of fraud is actually done by this man, Bernie Madoff. Is the greatest con in the history. For the purpose of making money, he be able to create a scam, and this is a big story back then, when he committed a biggest scam in the human history, over $65 billion and impacted over 1,000 of investors. Again, this is when we talk about capitalism that pursue with a very specific purpose, it's making money. So kalau in bahasa Indonesia kadang-kadang we say ini kapitalisme yang kebablasan gitu ya kira-kira. Now, being an activist, my job is not only creating the brand, but also making sure that the wisdom of the brand and the business itself is actually growing in a way that the economic, the people, the local is actually also fortunate with that. And it's very interesting if you look in every area in our places, we see wisdom of the local is also somehow create a corridor for us to do the business, and that is really good, and it's actually applied to every country in the world. They always have a local wisdom, and this local wisdom is actually born before the capitalism, and I'm gonna highlight that point later on in this presentation. Now, in Indonesia, we have this common word. It's called UUD. It's called ujung-ujungnya duit. So in English, I would say at the end of the day, bottom line is money. So that is the simple principle of capitalism, and this is somehow along on my career, I start to challenge this proposition. I always tend to ask, like, if you happen to born in this world and making money, how boring it is to live just making money. As a matter of fact, my finance consultant told me that our report last year on finance in the company is actually less because we intend to give more money to our partners and our suppliers rather than to keep the profit for ourselves. So there is some limitation and some calculation when you say about business in general. You have to make around 30%, 40% profit, and this is kind of the limit that where you have to go in the way of creating business. You have to within that barrier of margin. Now, if you focus on that and the cost of production, the cost of minimum labor is increased, then the things you can only do is actually to press all this cost, to make a better profit. And in that case, again, you have to put someone else to work extra. You have to find the product that actually less qualified. At the end, you're focusing on how to make your bottom line positive. And this is, I think, the other side of capitalism when you see that as a number. So my challenge is to change this perspective, and I start to questioning myself whether there be another system out there that actually balance this and understand that capitalism is not just only the way of making money. Then I realized back in 2013, this thing happened. I think when you look at the world today, it's all becoming very connected. Anybody know this, guys? Is anyone know? Raise hand, it's possible. This is a big things happened in 1989. Some of you probably not born yet at that time. But let me introduce this guy. His name is Tim Berners. He's actually the founder of World Wide Web. Okay, so this is the guy who actually invented the technology today that we all connected and can speak within the digital world. And this is a breakthrough moment for all of us, because since the World Wide Web introduced in the world becoming connected, okay? The world becoming connected, and we start to understand what happened in the other side of the world. And this is huge and fascinating, because now we can get 50 million users, all right, within a day. So if you look at the top left numbers is airlines. It took like 68 years for an airline to get their first 50 million users, and only less than 20 days for Pokemon Go to get their first 50 million users. So this is huge in the way that we can now understand that the world is connected, and we understand what happened to capitalism, and we understand what is the impact created by capitalism. And folks, this is not going to be easy for the next following years. You see the number of population growth through the history. Back in the Stone Age, we only have 2.25 million people. Now the world close to 8 billion people, 8 miliar orang. Yeah. So the 8 billion people, it creating problems, and capitalism is becoming a major factors in creating problems, but yet on the other hand is one of the most system that now being used in any country, most of the world. So when we look at this, then we understand that how the world is actually growing to a lot of new problems because of the number of the population. And this is where we as a student, we as the community has to stand out and start to think about what we can do in our majors, in our discipline to help to balance the world. United Nations stated 17 issues in 2016 called Sustainable Development Goal. This is the models and the issues that occur all over the world, from poverty, from gender equality issues, education issues, climate changes, you name it. And this is an area that each of us can contribute and start to focus and to help. And as entrepreneurs and as person who actually going to help businesses to create a better system and a better vision, we as a student have this responsibility to understand, and not just working as an operators, but also working as someone who understand the problem in the world and helping entrepreneurs to define and choose some of the issues they want to tackle using this SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. So this is, I think, a good information for all of you to understand and to connect businesses with social responsibility, revert to Sustainable Development Goals. Now, then I realized last year, I read this book. It's called Conscious Capitalism. It's wrote by two people. One is, his name is John Mackey. He's a CEO and co-founder of a Whole Food Market. We don't have it in Indonesia. I don't know whether in Hong Kong there's such a supermarket, but John Mackey brought a new thinking of capitalism. And I think this is what interests all of us, that conscious capitalism somehow can be the way of balance the issue of capitalism and how we all can contribute to make this thing bigger and better. Let me show you some video on this, and probably will give you a better understanding on what is conscious capitalism.
Regent Street, in the heart of London's West End, has for hundreds of years been a centre for businesses trying to turn a profit. Nowadays, companies are increasingly setting wider priorities, including the welfare of their staff, their suppliers, and the planet. But as they rebalance the profit-centred model, what will that mean for their business? John Mackey is the co-founder and co-chief executive of Whole Foods Market, an American food retailer which in 35 years has gone from a single store in Texas to a chain with 80,000 employees and an annual turnover of $12 billion. But Mr. Mackey is not your average corporate leader. He believes that businesses should pursue more than just their bottom line, that they should, as he puts it, have a higher purpose. He's created a movement around this ethos called conscious capitalism.
Conscious capitalism is primarily doing business in a more conscious way. We identify four key tenets to it. One, that every business has the potential to have a higher purpose besides only making money. Secondly, that it should create value for all of the interdependent stakeholders, not just the investors, so customers, employees, suppliers, investors. Third, that there's a different type of leadership that's focused on that higher purpose of the business and is serving the stakeholders. And fourth, you have to create a culture in the organization that allows people to flourish, that helps them to reach their higher potentials in life.
Of course, this isn't the first attempt by companies to look beyond their duty to make money for shareholders. Corporate social responsibility has been in vogue for some years. Mr. Mackey, however, sees his particular strain of capitalism as more of a break from many companies' strict focus on profit, although he admits that it isn't an easy model to adapt.
The profit-centered business model is very simple. It's just, how do we make more money? And to think about fulfilling your higher purpose and making more money is certainly, it's a little more difficult and a little more complex.
It's a big challenge for any business to try and turn a profit and ensure benefits for everyone involved. These problems become even more pronounced as the business grows. Neal's Yard Dairy began its life in 1979 as a small London cheesemaker. It now specialises in selling about 550 tonnes of British and Irish cheeses to the world each year.
A couple of years ago, one of our suppliers got into trouble in terms of the quality of the cheese that they were making. And when we went up to reduce the order, he said, well, who am I supposed to sell it to? At which point we worked out that we were selling roughly 90% of his production. We lent him money. We helped him find an outlet for that cheese. We let the credit against that cheese run for an extremely long time, years. If we hadn't helped him, he would have stopped making cheese and we would have been down one more territorial cheese.
It cost Neal's Yard Dairy money, but by looking out for their supplier in the short term, the company ultimately strengthened its business's position. But what about really big companies?
One of the bases of this is the belief that particularly the very large international companies are very, very powerful and that the directors have huge discretion. Actually, the evidence for this is not that great. The truth is that businesses and their directors, even the very largest businesses, have far less room for maneuver than those who espouse profit-sacrificing corporate social responsibility seem to understand.
What is clear, though, is that a business that fails to make money is no good to anyone. Lush, the ethical cosmetics manufacturer and retailer, is faced with the profit versus principle dilemma every time it puts a new product on its shelves.
You've got to have the profit to drive those things. Some of those are principles for us, so we won't move away from them. If they endanger our profit or reduce our profit, we tend to stick with the principles. That's always, a tough debate, but we tend to stick to that. But we're very profit focused as well. We're a business. You've got to have that piece in there, and we've got a statement we believe, and part of that is we believe in making a profit.
Conscious capitalism is a movement with momentum. Startups, smaller companies, and even a few larger ones like Whole Foods have adopted its principles. But can the biggest listed companies afford to do so? Given their deep foundations in shareholder value and self-interest, I have my doubts. Andrew Hill, Financial Times, London.
Right, so let me bring up back again. So if you listen to the world, at first it's very interesting, right? Let me see, whoa.
Regent Street in the heart of London's West End has for hundreds of years been a centre for businesses trying to turn a profit. Nowadays, companies are increasingly setting wider priorities, including the welfare of their staff, their suppliers, and the planet.
Is everyone can still hear
the
music?
Model, what will that mean for their business?
Narration?
John Mackey is the co-founder and co-chief executive of Whole Foods Market, an American food retailer, which...
Okay, sorry. Okay, so this is what interesting when the host say, I doubt it. Can the big corporation do such a thing like conscious capitalism? I doubt it. And this is, I think, the momentum for all of us as the young generation, looking at the pandemic as the starting point, and understanding that this is the momentum for all of us to start the business with conscious capitalism, to understand, to make profit, not just to making profit, but you have a higher purpose in life to make other things better. And this is, I think, where the business information system and every one of us have to stand down, step up, and to understand this is the momentum for all of us to do this. And nowadays in Indonesia, you will see a lot of new businesses grow based on social entrepreneurship. People working on the area to help the SDG grow and to make the business more impactful to others. So if you can see this 4 area of conscious capitalism, first is, I think, the one that very important is to understand that we have higher purpose, not just to making money, but we understand that making other people better. I think that's one of the key principle. And conscious leadership, you all are leader. You all are people who will change the world. And to understand that a lot of followers will follow you to understand what you are going to do. Stakeholder orientation. This is not about making the corporate better, but to make everyone better, to make the suppliers better. It's interesting to see the video where in the pure capitalism, the cheese maker will be kicked out from the supply chains if he don't make up a certain quality required by the principle. But in conscious capitalism, is actually the different way around. It's actually helping those people who have low quality, increasing them to better quality, and together they grow the business. So conscious really is about understanding, kesadaran in bahasa Indonesia, to understand that through us we can create this together. And being Asian, being Indonesian, I think we have this such of cultures to care about other people. So it is within us. Conscious capitalism is within us. It's something that is already inside. We just need to evoke. We need to understand that through this collaboration, through this different initiative, we can somehow create this understanding better. This is some simple visual that we all tend to look. This is called gotong royong in bahasa Indonesia. It's actually working together. And this is part of a very crucial identity of Indonesia that is actually part of the conscious capitalism. This is, sorry in bahasa, but in number 11, you see this is the value of gotong royong, care about other people. This is the reason why a lot of people value the Indonesian somehow, because we have tend to have such a spirit. And I think the same way apply to almost Asian people, where we actually working within close cultures, family issues. And this is, I think, a very simple way to connect the dot from conscious, from community to capitalism. Now, within my 20 years of experience working with different small, medium enterprises, I intend to look at these 3 types of people. One is called universe. This is type of entrepreneurs that are working in a concept of a larger, bigger, better. This is kind of a startup to always looking for opportunity to grow. But I also look some people who actually being on the position of what I call comfort plus. This is a position where, you're happy with yourself. You don't have to do anything. I'm working with the momentum. If the opportunity is good, then I go. If not, I'm just stay still. Okay. So the third one is actually growing very rapidly in most urban city in Indonesia and in the world is the artisan. This is type of entrepreneurs. It's actually very high standard, very high quality, and mostly they all have these social issues coming in within the business, in which I refer to social enterprises. And the artisan somehow now blend in as well as the universe. If you see the Whole Food and Lush as the cosmetic company. It's all big company. Body Shop is also wants to be an artisan company and growing as big as the universe, So this is, I think, a good way to understand. And out there, we all going to meet with these three type of characters and somehow blend within each other. But you have to understand, being a conscious capitalism this day is very rare, like that host mentioned on the video I just mentioned. Being a conscious capitalism is somehow can be criticized for not making enough money for the company. So I want you to be aware on this. I think within the next 5-10 years, the concept of conscious capitalism within our country becoming more clearer. And I think this is the job that everyone else have to do to make the understanding of this initiative. So you have to accept the truth that we all different. When you choose the path of conscious capitalism, you understand that you are not just a common businessman. You are not just the common entrepreneurs. You are an entrepreneur with a plus sign, with a mark sign, which you have a higher purpose, you have a higher impact. You are working not just for the money, but you are working for something even greater than that. And then you will have a lot of difficulties in the society nowadays if you start to wasting your money, to things that is not related to wealth creation or profitability. I like this quote, and it says, "A ship is always safe at the shore, but that is not what it's built for." And I think, again, we study in a very good university. We are equipped with knowledge and values. I think we have to go out there and to challenge this world and try to make it better through 17 SDG that already declared. And you can do that. It's the way is going to be hard. Is a process, but I think if you understand now that the world is getting better, digitalization is growing, and I think the opportunity for all of us connected to each other and helping each other to different continents and different countries, I think that is how to make this initiative even bigger and better. This is in Bahasa. I remember my dad once when he sent me to the States, he said that you go there, you learn. You learn as high as possible. You coming back home and you build your country. And I remember this. This is a wake-up call from me. I was once working in the creative industry, making different ads, commercial for big corporation, international corporation. And in 2006, I found my call. I found my destiny. I know what I have to do. I know what I have to contribute. That's why I start all this journey with the TV program and everything else, because I know that every one of us have to contribute something to the world. And being an activist, being a person like you in the business field, in information field, is somehow not just a job, but it's also a call for us to make a better in our community. Yeah, you see, this is brand adventures. This is the process that take me all over the place. And this initiative is actually getting better for the last 3 years. We even have a chance to meet up with Mr. President for the first time because of the program and because of our initiative. And I believe that every one of us, if we do something good, we have this opportunity to create impact and becoming the key opinion leader in our field. So it's better to be a lonely lion than a popular sheep. I think this is true for those who believe and care about making impact, making a difference. But to do that, you need to establish an alternative channel of distribution. You need to work with a lot of people. You need to work with different channels, not within our system, but actually outside of the system. And if you understand that since 1989, when we start to understand the world of digital, when we start to understand Facebook, we start to understand social media, then we understand that this is the time for us to grow. This is our time. As a matter of fact, digitalization is actually the way to help small medium enterprises to excel in the way that people never think before. So this is not the technology that favor bigger corporation. Social media now becoming the tool for the small businesses to be able to compete with the big businesses. And 20 years ago, you don't have a chance to do this. And to be the student who understand that this is the momentum, I think you have to take advantage out of this. And I think the society, the ecosystem will willing to help everyone else to make better business, better consciousness. And I think this is one of the reasons why we are here today in this forum. So community is the key to do this initiative in terms of conscious capitalism. You need to have a lot of friends. You need to have a lot of compatriots. You need to have people who believe on your values, believe in your process. And that is what happened, as well as the way myself working as a brand adventure, as a brand activist. Since the program launched, I think over 67 activists is actually registered in our community, coming from 45 cities. Last year I invited them to come over to Jakarta and to see each other for the first time, and we become a bigger community together. And then we come and to sit down to talk to the local and to leader of the businesses. We came to visit one of the most popular icon of the business, the owner of Lipo Group. If you remember, we also stopped by to meet up with William Tanuwijaya, is the founder of Tokopedia, is the one who actually sit down in the middle. And the community has this power. We have this power to create conversation to a bigger company, to bigger authority, because we focus on the values. We focus on what we believe, that we can change the world, we can change Indonesia with understanding, creating the best or the most prominent local brand in Indonesia. So I think that's my point to all of you today, to understand that conscious capitalism is out there. United Nations has declared 17 SDG. This is part of our responsibility to be part of this problem and to solve the problem through our discipline, to our skill, and working together, join forces with different communities, and start to make the world better, start to make the community better. So go out there, be present, show your colors. Join organization, not just staying in the school, but, you share, make a conversation, be vocal, execute, be an icon, use your superpower. So that's it, folks. That's all I can share. And I hope you understand, you enjoy, and don't forget to get connected within each other. And I hope to see you all soon.
For the participants that perhaps have any question, we are going to open a Q&A session, and we present this chance for the participants to raise hand in Zoom call and ask questions to Bapak Arto Biantoro. We present the chance. Thank you.
You can raise your hand on the Zoom, and if you guys had any questions. Well, I think social media has a really great impact for small businesses to grow, yeah, Bel. One of the participants from Borju has asked a question. Jingga Mutiara, you may ask your question.
Um, uh, Thank you. Mr. Arto Biantoro, my name is Jingga from Tim Borju, and I'd like to ask a question based on your presentation earlier. So my question is on your statement that conscious capitalism is often criticized due to not making enough money. Does it mean that ethical practice of business and capitalism is like two things that can be done simultaneously, or well, I'd like to ask what exactly it means. And then the second is that how does conscious capitalism helps business on their branding? Thank you.
I think it's easier to answer the second question first. Because now if you're working on the area of branding, the concept of branding is create differentiation, is create what things that we've done that other people don't. So when you talk about conscious capitalism, definitely this is a proposition that we can use in our business to say that, hey, I'm working on the area of businesses that actually helping us or nurturing woman empowerment. So when you talk about woman empowerment, embedded that to our business, I think that creates differences, not only a product, but also as well the total vision of the company. I think if you see a lot of places in Bali, there's one farming area called Munti Gunung. This is an area where a lot of farmers, majority women, working in the field of agriculture, growing crops and things like that. And when you pack that with a good product, and you pack that with a good packaging, a good narration of the story, who actually behind the product, and you send it to your market, to your consumers, then your consumer will understand that this is not just the product, but this is the product created by a woman, created by mother, created by people in the rural area that actually beneficiary to all of us. So when you embedded that story to your company, when you embedded that ideas to your brand suddenly becoming different, becoming interesting to some of the people. You're not just selling the product, but you're also selling the story. So that is, I think, number two, where how conscious capitalism can actually help the brand. If you read the book, and I just realized that actually conscious capitalism grow the company profit up to 10 times. Whole Food Company just stated using the new system, the new thinking of conscious capitalism, the whole shareholder, it's not only just a stakeholder, but it's the whole stakeholder, not just the shareholder, is actually helping promoting the product together because of the same principle and the same initiative. It's not about, you pushing the boundaries, you pushing people to work harder, but we all working together. And this is, I think, the reason why today the message can go very easy, spread to different places, because a lot of people have heart and willingness to promote the same product. So I think in the simple word is about collaboration, kerjasama bareng-bareng, grow up, bikin farmersnya terkenal, bikin suppliernya terkenal, then everyone is actually try to promote the product together. Now, the first question when you talk about, can it be blend? Of course, now with social capitalism, conscious capitalism, you understand that capitalism has a new partner. Being conscious is the way to redeem our what I call nafsu, keinginan, willingness, needs to make just money. But this is a new term. This is a new thinking. It's not common, I think you just heard conscious capitalism today, but it's actually been known 7 years ago, but not until now today in Indonesia. So I think it's just about time if we all together working together to promote this new economic term and advocate that and execute that in our level. I think that will be great.
Okay, thank you for your answer. So now I kind of understand that conscious capitalism helps company in branding through aiming for higher purpose and valuing more than a goal. Is that true?
Yes, that is totally
okay.
true.
Thank you, Mr. Arto.
You're welcome.
Are there any further questions from the other team, perhaps? Because remember, guys, this Q&A session will be very beneficial when you guys answer your case competition.
Someone in the studio would like to ask a question, if that's okay. There's a question. What are the tricks to balance branding and marketing in company?
Yeah, can you say it again?
Okay. What are the tricks to balance branding and marketing in a company?
Well, actually, branding is a way of creating differences, and in the practice of branding, you have all these different disciplines. Marketing is one of them, but design is one of them, but IT, is also one of them. So I look branding in 11 area of disciplines where all are connected to working each other. So when you create the process of branding within the company, it's not merely only focusing on good design and good marketing. It's actually combination of management, finance, technology, human resources, design, of course, communication, PR, research, and this is all need to be blend together. I believe company who practice branding in a way go through its foundation, by process and understanding each layer of branding, I think have more chances to be successful out there than focusing only on marketing strategy only. The product who doesn't have any strength, a product who actually just so will impossible to be better in marketing. So if you want to do something better in business, you have to start with the wow product. You have to start with the wow reason, and this is wow reason coming from branding. And one of them is using conscious capitalism approach to create differentiation of the product. And once you have that branding strong, then you can always use marketing to push the product to the bigger audience. So remember, if you don't start with the good product, we don't start with the good problem, okay, in your area, in your case, you don't start with the good issues. There's no such a way you can come out with the output that people actually willing to wait for. And this is very important for all of us as information system analysts. It's actually to find the right reason and to find the proper reason to identify the problem and to execute that, executing it in a way that valued to everyone once the system is done. Yeah, I think. Sure.
Sir Arto Biantoro, we have another question from the studio. From your experience, can you give us some stories about socialpreneur And how would they thrive in this pandemic, especially financially?
Right. Okay. So there's one area in near Jakarta, to be exact, in Bogor, where this one kampung is a small village that famous with social enterprises initiative. It's called Salam Rancage. You guys can Googling it in the internet. It's called Salam Rancage. It's actually a social enterprises initiated by a lady who gather a lot of ibu-ibu, mothers within the kampung to work on the craft output, on the craft product. It's actually a product created by papers, by old papers, koran, newspaper, used one, and it's actually created and become a very beautiful home decors. So what's interesting about it is that the whole village, the whole kampung, is actually working together. Each houses created this one product and then submitted to Salam Rancage as the ecosystem. And the story of Salam Rancage is actually becoming very well known because of the initiative to create empowerment to mothers, to women, working with such a product like craft. So they able to send this product in some point of time to overseas, to Canada, to Australia, to America, as the brand called Salam Rancage, where each of the mother, each of the women there have their own signature in each of the craft they created. This is becoming a story that empowering a lot of people and creating a lot of relationship within the companies. In some point of time, I remember the owner, Aling Nur Naluri, is actually visited by American and Canadian to Indonesia to meet up directly to this woman to know who actually behind the product. And this is becoming national exposures. Is Mbak Aling with Salam Rancage and para ibu in the village is covered in serious stories in television and radio, and that area becoming very well known as a social initiative impact area. Because of the pandemic, the home decoration and craft business actually slowing down. They start to build new business on agriculture. You know, planting a good apa namanya rempah-rempah. What do you call rempah-rempah? Anyone know how to call rempah-rempah? Spices, yes. So they planting spices in their home garden, you know, and collecting them, and they sell it to corporation. And because they already
Bapak Arto Biantoro, we're very sorry, but you're muted.
Yes. Okay. So during the lifetime of a pandemic, you know, the craft business actually slowing down. So what it did is actually they start pivoting to spices businesses. You know, they plant spices in their home garden and collecting them. But since they actually have the Salam Rancage brand name and actually well known as a woman empowerment businesses, they are very easy to actually sell the product again through this different initiative using the same brand name. And I think that is the power of branding. That is the power of a community, the power of storytelling, where you can actually doing the pivoting in this era. And I think that's one of the successful story. And they actually, if you Googling now, they start doing mass initiative with other women within the area. And I think it's really good. It's really well. And I'm very happy for them.
Arto Biantoro for the answer.
Yes, thank you so much, Sir Arto Biantoro, for the wonderful speech. And it is such an honor to have... Oh, I think we have another question from one of the participants. Oh, okay. Never mind. So, thank you so much for Sir Arto Biantoro for the wonderful speech, and it is truly an honor for us to have a guest speaker, you as a guest speaker. Now we're going to have a QR code for those who want to redeem their SAT points for Venetian students. You may scan this exit form to redeem your SAT points for Venetians only.
Are able to take some few points from Mr. Arto Biantoro and solve it for the future case. Well, guys, if you have any other further questions, don't worry. Later we will have a dedicated Q&A session, and right now we're going to have a commercial break.
We'll be right back.
Thank you.